Launch Director.
Launch vehicle is ready to launch.
Mission Director.
3,
You have permission
2,
to launch.
we have ignition of the RS-68A main engine. And we have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket.
Mach 1, execute. And we have indication of spacecraft separation.
At Space Launch Complex 6, a Delta IV Heavy rocket is fueled and ready to launch the NROL-71 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. Good evening and welcome to ULA's live launch broadcast. I'm Tyler Strickland, a trajectory engineer from ULA's mission design team. Currently, the team is trying to resolve an anomalous has-gas concentration reading. What that means is they are seeing a high level of hydrogen concentration around the base of the rocket. Because of this issue, our T0 has moved to 5:49 p.m. Pacific. We'll conclude tonight's coverage following confirmation of payload fairing jettison, which occurs about 6 minutes after liftoff. A few minutes from now, the count will enter a planned 15-minute hold. This hold gives our team some additional time to resolve any issues that may come up prior to entering the terminal count. As I mentioned earlier, coverage will conclude following payload fairing jettison. While our team works through the final preps, let's take a look at a preview of some of the events we'll see.
We have ignition of the RS-68 engines. 2, 1, 0. We have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket for the National Reconnaissance Office.
3 Delta IV RS-68A main engines ignite and generate more than 2.1 million pounds of thrust to lift the rocket away from the pad. Shortly after liftoff, Delta IV begins a pitch over to attain the proper flight path while minimizing the pressure the vehicle experiences during flight. The Delta IV reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound, at 1 minute 22 seconds. At 3 minutes 56 seconds, the port and starboard booster engines shut down, followed by jettison 2 seconds later. The center booster engine then throttles to full power to maximize performance. Approaching main engine cutoff, Delta IV is burning propellant at a rate of 1,945 pounds per second, traveling at more than 13,281 miles per hour and located 115 miles in altitude and 378 miles downrange. At 5 minutes 36 seconds, propellant levels deplete and the main engine shuts down. 7 seconds later, the Delta IV separation system Seven seconds later, the Delta IV separation system activates to release the first stage. The vehicle now weighs a little more than 7% of what it did at liftoff. At 5 minutes 55 seconds, the first Delta cryogenic second stage, or DCSS main engine burn, begins.
P&E LC Net 1.
P&E Zone 1.
At step 980, proceed with final pneumatic preps.
Roger.
Fuel 1 LC.
Good.
Perform CBC LH2 fill and drain valve cycle test.
Roger.
T-minus 8 minutes.
LOX 1 LC.
Go.
Perform CBC LOX fill and drain valve cycle test.
Roger.
GE, verify TISR status ready.
TISR status ready.
SYS, LC.
Go.
Establish best source selector locked on RF and range sources.
Roger.
Initiate orbital parameter calculations on primary CCLS.
Roger.
CME LC1.
Go.
Establish video recording.
Roger.
ULA is using a Delta IV Heavy rocket to launch the NROL-71 mission. This is the 38th Delta IV launch since the inaugural flight in 2002 and the 11th flight of the Heavy configuration. Produced in Decatur, Alabama, the Delta IV Heavy, the nation's proven heavy lift launcher, is comprised of 3 common booster cores, each powered by Aerojet Rocketdyne RS-68A engines, and a Delta cryogenic second stage powered by an Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10B2 engine. The NROL-71 payload is protected during ascent by a 5-meter diameter payload fairing. Let's have a look at a few of the events that took place in preparation for launch. On October 26th, the spacecraft, encapsulated inside the payload fairing, was transported to the Mobile Service Tower, or MST, at Space Launch Complex 6 and mated to the Delta IV Heavy rocket. The Mobile Assembly Shelter, or MAS, was moved to its launch position. The MAS protects the Delta IV rocket from the wind and fog so common to its location here on California's Pacific coast. Final launch preparations at Space Launch Complex 6 begin with rollback of the Mobile Service Tower, or MST. Using 40 hydraulic cylinders at pressures nearing 3,500 psi, the MST was raised 8 inches and rolled back, revealing the Delta IV Heavy. At 100 feet by 100 feet by 300 feet, the MST is as tall as a football field is long, as wide as the length of a basketball court, and weighs in at about 10 million pounds. Using a carriage transporter system traveling at about a quarter mile per hour, it takes about 25 minutes to roll the MST to its launch position 300 feet east of the rocket. The Delta IV Heavy stands 232 feet tall, or about 23 stories, and weighs about 1.6 million pounds fully fueled. The 3 Delta IV RS-68A main engines produce more than 2 million pounds of thrust. Approximately 6 minutes later, at stage separation, it weighs just 7% of what it did at liftoff. The NRO is a joint organization engaged in the research and development, acquisition, launch, and operation of innovative overhead reconnaissance systems necessary to meet the needs of the intelligence community and the Department of Defense. The NRO is recognized for its innovative intelligence collection systems that are used to develop highly accurate.
Everything is
military targeting data, support international peacekeeping and humanitarian relief operations, and to assess the impact of natural disasters. The art for today's mission depicts an eagle as a symbol of both freedom and the nation, providing a fitting mascot to represent NRO's support to our nation's warfighter. The initials JLC on the foreground dog tag are in honor of Colonel Joshua L. Chamberlain, a Union commander who was awarded the Medal of Honor for his heroism at the Battle of Gettysburg on July 2, 1863, when he held the Union Army's southern flank
Headlight is on.
at Little Round Top against a repeated assault from Confederate forces.
Copy.
Colonel Chamberlain's heroism, leadership, and commitment to service before self exemplifies the ethos of the American warfighter, who the NRO is committed to serving each and every day. The art also includes the NRO mission number 71, along with the Delta IV Heavy in Vandenberg Air Force
of that
Base,
Soyuz vehicle that you're looking at from this view.
The motto,
From an
"Serving
ISS
those who
trust
serve,"
camera.
rounds out the logo and represents the NRO's commitment
Sergei
to delivering the
Prokopiev, the
mission
Soyuz commander, in the center
on time
seat,
to the
flanked on his
warfighter and
left
intelligence
by
community.
European Space Agency astronaut Alexander Gerst, the off-going Expedition 57 commander, Serena Anand, Chancellor of NASA, to Prokopiev's right. Gerst, as board engineer number 1, will have the lion's share of communications responsibilities during this descent because of a communications cable connector issue that cropped up a couple of hours ago with Prokopiev's Sokol launch and entry suit. Not serious enough, however, to impact
Do I have LD
the
on one?
undocking
LD.
that's coming up
MD.
in just about
MD.
4 minutes.
Proceed, AC.
Yes, we had a report on
At the time of
BBC
undocking,
engine section that,
Expedition
we saw a high
will formally
hydrogen,
begin aboard the
indication
International
on
Space
the
Station
southern port
under
in
the
that
command
area.
of Oleg Kononenko,
did
who
considerable
arrived
amount
on
of
board the
troubleshooting
station
to
just over
determine
2 weeks
if
ago
this was a
with
real
his 2 crewmates, David St. Jacques of the Canadian Space Agency
indication or not,
and Anne
the
McLean of
conclusion
NASA.
team
The 3 of them will
multiple
remain a
half
3-person
gas
crew
cans and,
for the next
wells on the
2.5
sample
months
ports that,
until the arrival
that
on March
the belief is
1st,
that we do have a
Baikonur
real
time,
hydrogen
of the next
fleet
trio
in
to
that
fly on
section. We
Soyuz
are
MS-12
currently above,
that
the allowable TRD
will
level
consist
for
of Alexei Ovchinin and Nick Hague
hydrogen detection in that
getting another
that
ride to
sample
orbit in the wake of their Soyuz
location.
launch abort
And
back on
so,
October 11th.
Team
They'll be
concurred
launching this time
that, anomaly
with
team
Christina
concurred
Cook
that
of
we are in
NASA
an,
to
no-fly
bring
condition
the
at this time.
station back to a full 6-person crew
Additional
capability.
troubleshooting was examined for the center body, and team determined that there's no issue in the other, either in the center CBC or starboard CDC engine sections. So, for that reason, no additional troubleshooting was requested or recommended. So, with that, the recommendation remains that we are in a no-fly condition. That concludes my outbrief.
LC copies and concurs. LD.
LD concurs.
The Soyuz MS-09
concurs.
docking mechanism has now been commanded to power up. We're inside a minute until the issuance of the command to open up the Soyuz hooks on the Rassvet module.
Confirmed. I'm ready to send the gas 17 command on time. Copy. Please send this command in 30 seconds. I'm ready to send gas 17 command at 043900. Copy, Alex. Your go. Copy. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And the hooks are now driving open. This will take about 90 seconds, at which point the springs on both sides of the docking interface between the Soyuz and the Rosviet module will push off against one another to create the physical separation that will mark the beginning of Expedition 58 on the International Space Station.
has declared a scrub for today's operations. Please set up the team for 24-hour recycle.
Please control mechanical separation. Please use both the camera and the video display. Video system, copy. We can see very clear image on the camera without any noise or anything else. We can see everything very well. Copy.
We're standing by for physical separation of the Soyuz MS-09 from the International Space Station, and there it is.
I can confirm the
Undocking confirmed at 7:40 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, right on time, as the International Space Station flew 252 miles over southeastern Mongolia.
The indicator mode is not illuminated anymore. SSVP mode is illuminated. We can see the docking node. We don't see any debris or anything else on the docking mode. It's clean. Copy.
GSO 1 and 2 есть.
GSO 1 and 2 are confirmed. Copy. Please start the timer.
GSO вообще она есть, что? Игнат?
Yes. GSO 1 is illuminated. Please start the timer, Sergey.
Секундомер запущен.
The timer is on.
This is Mission Control Houston. You're hearing a conversation between the Russian flight controllers and Korolyov and the crew on board Soyuz MS-09. Again, you're looking at the vehicle now flying free of the International Space Station, undocking, occurring right on time at 7:40 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, 8:40 and 30 seconds p.m. Eastern Time, as the station and the Soyuz flew 250 plus miles over southeastern Mongolia.
Visually, the range is approximately 12 meters. Copy. Sergey, we wish you soft docking. We can see you. Thank you, Oleg. Have a great flight on the ISS. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And another view of the Soyuz vehicle as it continues to back away from the International Space Station.
Prepare for the first Delta V. We are ready. We're getting ready. We're expecting it in 30 seconds. Copy.
Not
15 seconds to go. 10.
3 минуты. Есть работа ДПО.
We confirm DPO firing.
The first of two separation burns underway. This is an 8-second burn to increase an opening rate between the Soyuz that now is in a roll program.
I can see the maneuver. The maneuver is complete. It's a roll maneuver. Copy. The maneuver is complete now. I confirm GSO, combined GSO.
The second of the two separation burns will be coming up shortly, a 15-second burn that will further increase the opening rate between the Soyuz and the International Space Station. You're looking down at the snow-covered terrain of far eastern Russia as the Soyuz and the International Space Station soon will begin a northwest to southeasterly track.
3, 2, 1. We confirm depot firing.
Second separation burn now underway. This will be a 15-second burn.
10 seconds. We can see the maneuver. We confirm that depot is off. 15 seconds. Copy. Copy all, guys. We can see that we can see the maneuver. Confirm it. The accelerometers and the angular rate sensor units are not eliminated. Copy. Altais Moscow. You're going to perform the closeout step.
Passed out of range of our downlink TV capability here momentarily. We should be regaining that a short time from now. You're looking at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov. Once again, undocking occurring at 7:40 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, 8:40 and 30 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Undocking occurring over southeast Mongolia.
We are